G'day, welcome to Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by old man Hurston himself.
Old man Hurston's feeling older every day, I tell you.
He was telling me he had a really long shower this morning, or
I blacked out, one of the two. I don't know which.
I don't know how that went. That was really funny. No, he goes, yeah, I got in the shower like 5 a.m. Next thing it was 6 a.m.
Time warp. Maybe that's what happens when you go for a jump point.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But that's today's episode.
Like that segue?
It was a very good segue. Very, slip and fall and hit your head and knock yourself out for now. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, but yeah, I actually think this is going to be interesting. It's a 23-minute long ISC. And I was just saying to Algared, I think this might actually really be quite interesting, even for older backers. Probably the most interesting one we've seen in a while. Prove me wrong, but I think it will be good.
Well, when you said, you think it's going to be an interest, I said to you, or mainly to the jump point, it's one of those things we've heard about in the past so many times. Now, and we know it's on the cusp. We know we've had, players on Evo be able to do the jump point. We know we've been testing it. We know that it's coming.
Yeah. Well, I want to get started because we've turned 11-minute ISCs into 1-hour ISCs. I have no idea how long this is going to take because it's 23 minutes. So,
welcome to a 3-hour.
Either it's going to be really, really long, or we're not going to do a lot of talking. So we'll see how it goes. All right, let's kick it off.
A jump point connects 2 points, disparate spaces in the physical space. So basically, you go through an opening on one side, you travel through a sort of a tunnel, and then you pop out somewhere else in space. Jump points are naturally occurring. The first discovery of a jump point was actually by accident. It was a cargo ship that had a leaky quantum drive, basically triggered the first opening of the jump point. It accidentally slipped inside and then disappeared, and they found it several years later when Nick Croshaw, who basically was the first one who discovered that the leaking quantum engine was the cause of triggering this rip in time-space to basically open up. And so he basically kind of solidified the knowledge to be able to replicate it consistently.
There's been a lot of...
I wonder there, Algared, because I remember the law, they just fell into the jump point.
Well, the initial ship did actually have a malfunctioning quantum drive, and so the law. I don't think the law's changed. Which is the nice thing. The actual story and how things happened hasn't changed. The mechanic has, but the law hasn't, and that's why Dave Haddock would say they always paint with a 12-inch paintbrush so that designers have room to maneuver and float around, whereas you get really detailed, you don't have that. You don't have that ability.
Okay.
Information shared over the years.
A lot of it has changed as we've learned and had new ideas.
So here's a primer on the first jump point we're building today.
By some of the people that are currently building it.
And what you see and hear is super work in progress.
So welcome to Inside Star Citizen Intro to Jump Points.
Sorry, say again.
I said I love the Doctor Who. I said Doctor Who theme, but it's really a Doctor Who.
I'm not a Doctor Who fan. That's why I'm blasé about the whole thing. So yeah.
Doctor Who's TARDIS box light on the top, going through a tunnel. Yeah. So they're doing this call out. It's a nice Easter egg. I love it.
So a jump point is basically the means at which a player is able to transition from one solar system to another. There are two different jump point experiences, permanent and transient.
The permanent jump points are the ones that are the most stable, and they are always available for the player to travel through.
It's the well-trafficked, well-traveled route that most people will go through.
Which you find on the star map. The ones that you would like, say, transition from Stanton to Pyro, Pyro to Stanton.
Since they're stable and generally larger and easier to travel, there are infrastructure built up around them to support the commerce that goes through them on a regular basis. So we made a creative decision to remove the circular gates that we were doing in some of the concept art before. It just didn't match the reality of how we wanted to set these up in the world. They're supposed to be naturally occurring. And if you have like this infrastructure around it making this circular jump gate, then that's not showing like how it actually functions in the world.
We've lost this sort of size restriction when it comes to permanent jump points. So the main jump points that lead from system to system will accept any size ship.
That's a big piece of news. Yeah. So no longer do we have, well, you look at the star map, you've got the small, medium, and large. That's all Dodo. That's
it's
nuts.
just all. So where there's a jump point, and as we were talking about earlier, you know, the map with the large, medium, and small jump point lanes, that's, as you just said, gone. It's just all those are just jump point lines. So that's a massive change. That's yeah.
I'm interested to see where else this goes. All right.
Yeah.
Transient jump points are more ethereal.
First, you have to find them, and once you've found them, you don't know where they go.
We like to call in the narrative team the Swiss cheese approach.
Okay, so that's big as well because it allows you to use exploring ships to find them.
Yep.
So that kind of explains the constantly finding of new jump points type of thing.
Yep.
My question is now, how long do they last? So
yeah, and that also ties in with like back in the day when it was talked about, you know, searching for jump points. It was always said, oh, there's only so many jump points. You're not going to be finding a jump point every day. So this really does open up that door. It almost feels like this is a.
Well, does it mean? So I got questions like, does a really chaotic system have the jump points constantly moving? They're only open for like an hour. Do you have one that's like they move every month, or like how? Again, it could be a combination of both. Is there a way we can scan them and tell how long they're going to be around? These are all questions I have just instantly.
Yeah, and that's the type of thing that's there. We know the permanent ones, the stable jump points are going to be there all the time. But these transient ones, they're the ones that really, you know, are they going to be quicker? Are they going to be size restricted? Are they going to be more dangerous? Are they going to open up in the same areas? Are you going to find them around the jump point area? Are they going to be littered?
Well, this is literally one in the ring of yellow. I think that kind of tells you it's anywhere. So we'll see.
So lots of good stuff. Yeah.
Which are smaller access points to the main tunnel. Those will still be restricted by small, medium, and large. So basically, it opens up opportunities for smaller ships to kind of sneak their way through.
A transient jump point may only be able to be used once. It may be a little bit more permanent, but you can never tell how long does it last once you find it.
So it may be able to be used once, or a little bit more permanent. So a little bit more permanent, is that, like I said, is that a month? Is that a year? Is it like, how long is that?
Yeah.
But again, I can tell why they've said that, because then it's gameplay reasons. They can pick and choose what they want.
And they can go,
you know, like they can temporarily open a jump point right outside Lawville that takes you to, you know, maybe 2 systems across. Like, so again, if they want to have this random event, they can just do that.
Well, yeah. It also makes sense of the Vandal Sack of, you know, the so-called Vandal Sack of Soul. Is that a permanent jump point, or is it a transient jump point that they stumble on?
Exactly.
Is it? So lots of questions and lots of gameplay options that they've got, where it explains the collapsed jump point, where we've got this isolated system where we had a jump point and the jump point closed. It wasn't as permanent as we thought it was. So,
and are there still transient ones there?
And are some of the permanent ones we're using actually transient ones we just don't realize? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, lots of gameplay options and
makes me wonder now if they could potentially have transient large ones as well. Like if they wanted to, obviously, but we'll see.
Oh, they could do whatever they like. Yeah. That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
People are looking to avoid scrutiny. We'll look for these sort of side routes to get into the jump point to bypass, you know, security or customs or stuff like that.
In 4.0, our first and only jump point will be the one linking Stanton to Pyro and Pyro to Stanton. Maybe the best way to share this design is simply to walk you through the whole thing. So we leave Lorville, we put it into our star map, and we set our course for the Stanton to Pyro jump point. QT there. And then upon arrival, you will fly down to the gateway station that's located there, because you're going to want to make sure that you're stocked up for your trip into Pyro, because Pyro may well not have the things that you're used to in Stanton. You probably want to pick up some ammo, and you want to pick up some more fuel, probably some more fuses, and then after that, undock, and then turn yourself to view the jump point.
The jump points will be visible from far distance. It probably will appear as like a small star kind of a thing that just like pulses and asks you to come near me.
You'll see like the massive whirlwind from the gravity pool that the jump point itself is creating, which is a gas cloud, and you'll see it in various different colors or forms. You can fly towards where the jump point will be, and there is structures in Stanton that sort of lead you towards the jump point.
When you approach the jump point, what you'll hear is the general ambience of the whole area, whether that's the distant portal emitting energy or violent clashes of thunder that is drawing the player into the central jump zone. And as we get closer, this will build up, and the player will feel like they're being drawn into something primordial.
With jump points, multiple players can take them at the same time, so it is probably likely that you will encounter other players waiting to make their jumps.
And you'll also see like the security and the turret infrastructure around it that's providing a safe experience on the permanent jump gates.
In order to perform your jump, the first thing you need to do is get closer to the jump point.
But you won't be able to go all the way up to it. Like when it's not active yet, it has a field around it that will push you away until you've attuned to the anomaly that allows you to go through.
You have to call ATC. The anomaly needs ATC to be able to allow you to enter.
When you're using a jump point, you're actually just an individual. So the ATC calls that you have to make are for you, and then the groups that you go in are designated by the ATC.
If you contact ATC at the same time, you can be put into the queue together, but there's no guarantee that you'll be in the same jump group.
If you want to jump with your friends, you need to make sure that you arrive together, and when you call ATC, you will be able to see how much space is in the group. So if you have friends and you want to jump together, you'll be able to know exactly how much room there is in.
This feels like a technical limitation. It doesn't feel like a gameplay choice. Like, why can't I just fly up to the wormhole and go through? Why do I have to get in a group and sit there and wait? And that just doesn't seem right to me.
That group. And if it's not enough for you and you want to go with your friends later, then you can forfeit and you go again.
In the future, I definitely want to have some more quality of life features where you can get into queue at the ATC as a party, but currently our ATC does not support queuing as a party, so you'll just be doing it as an individual.
Once you are within range of it, you need to be changing over to nav mode. Your UI will automatically change to the jump drive UI,
which will allow you to know if you're aligned, if you're tuned, if you can go in, if it's blocked. You have a visual input of the UI. The HUD is moving, is turning until you have a message notification that tells you, all right, you're aligned. If you look away, of course, that will trigger the cancellation of that alignment. If you move away from your position, you'll lose probably your position in the queue. You'll have red markers that tells you, or you're on the wrong side, you have to move to that direction. You'll have also kind of like a landing strip where you have the lights that tells you, oh, you have to go in through this area. So you'll have those rings that pulse and tell you you're correctly aligned.
So as soon as the ATC has gotten to your group and you're now able to use the jump gate, your jump drive will start attuning to the gate.
And once you have authorization and you have opened the wormhole, you'll have the tuning visual that's really similar to the aligning, but with tuning messages that tells you what you need to do. And once that's done, you'll have tuning access and you'll be ready to go inside.
While your ship is attuning, you'll see rippling in the anomaly. And as soon as you are attuned, then you can fire a burst of quantum energy into the portal that will rip it open, and you'll have a gate in space.
So that's a cool visual because then you can actually see when it's being activated. I'm wondering how far back you can see that. Like, can I be like, oh, they have to go through, you know, come in and stop them type of thing. But
Yeah.
It allows you to see the tunnel beyond and travel to your new star system.
When it opens, you'll hear the space around the jump point being ripped apart and everything being drawn into it. A really guttural, swirling sound of all the space around the jump point being dragged into this one singularity.
During this drawing process, the ships are drawn in automatically. You don't have to control anything. You don't have to do anything. There is, in fact, nothing you can do that would stop you being drawn in.
So the plan right now is if there's any obstructions in front of you when you're trying to attune to the gate, that'll break your attunement. So if somebody gets in your way while you're trying to attune, your attunement will pause until that obstruction has gone away. However, if anybody gets too close to the jump gate and they're not attuned, then they're going to get pushed away, which should clear the area for anybody who's trying to get through.
So for the people who want to block a jump point, we are actually considering our options as to how to prevent that from happening.
So hang on. You are knocking people out of the way that are blocking other people. You're deciding how to stop other people from blocking people, but you're having a whole system where you've got to sit there and line up and attune and all that takes a whole bunch of time when you could just fly in. I don't get that. Yeah. They're counterintuitive. So the only thing I can think of is that it's some technical limitation where they have to send you through in groups, which
maybe. Like,
I don't know, because it's counterintuitive. Like, if you can just go through at any time, then you wouldn't be able to be stopped, would you? You would just fly straight through. Why isn't it just open all the time like a portal and you just fly through it and you go? Why do you have to even open it? Because it's a juxtaposition. It just doesn't make sense. So you either have it one way for gameplay reasons or you have it the other way for gameplay reasons, not both for no reason.
I can see the need to open it because even in law it was a broken, leaking quantum drive.
Yep.
So you had the quantum energy that was leaking out that triggered it. So for firing of the bolt of quantum energy into it to rip it open actually makes sense. It kind of picks up stuff that was mentioned in law and says, okay, and this is why.
Yeah, but law can be changed to fit gameplay. I'm looking at it from the point of view of that they want you to sit there and take all this time to open it, but they've just said there's no point sitting there to do it because essentially once you start doing it, people can't stop you. They get knocked out of the way. It's only if they're there before you start does it stop you. And then they said that, and they even said they're looking at ways to stop that. So they don't want jump points being blocked. It's really weird.
No, I think certainly they don't want the permanent jump points being blocked. I imagine the transient ones are going to be different.
All right.
But that's stuff we have to wait and see. Like,
when you cross the threshold, you'll hear an instantaneous whip of the ship being pulled in and the changing of atmosphere between deep space and this singularity that you're being dragged into.
Once you're in the tunnel, your ship will be flying at a set speed that's determined by the flow of energy through the tunnel.
You'll hear the space around you flying past you at a great pace, like a really long cosmic drain pipe.
And you don't have any control of how fast you're...
I think the cosmic drain pipe kind of hit the nail on the head there. It makes me think like I'm going down the toilet because it's just all yellow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're doing there. But
we're going.
What's this?
Basically, basically work in progress.
Yeah.
So
So intermediate stage of development. I was just going to read what Disco says. It's just an intermediate stage It's just saying it's not what it's going to look like. Okay.
Yep. All right.
May not be all yellow.
You'll speed up in the straights and slow down the corners to a certain degree, but you still have to navigate.
The tunnel itself is something else. It needs a lot of technical and graphical things that need to happen.
We've got flickering lights, some type of ethereal type of particle effect to show you type of the direction we're flowing. We also have fog effect, and this idea that you're always moving towards a strong, bright light in the distance.
A lot of water themes going on there too, and I'm noticing not a lot of hazards, like we were told about. Even the one that I've got as the thumbnail and stuff like that, they had a lot of hazards.
Yeah. Well, even I was thinking that even the fog effect gives that idea that you're going to get. How far are you going to be able to see? Are you going to be able to see hazards arriving if they arrive? But so far, it doesn't look like it, does it?
Yeah, just how far you can see things come down. Yeah, like a pathing branch or.
Well, actually, just looking at where you've paused it, at the end, you can actually see that it looks like a branch or an arm that's up the top there that's breaking off. Is that a hazard that we'll see? But yeah.
The idea we're going off so far is that we're working on the bending of light. You'll see impressions of the exterior, the location you've just come from, and also hints at the way you're going to. The walls of the tunnel type of curving the space-time around you, and eventually, as you travel through the tunnel, that distortion will move away from the initial system you started in and then blend slowly towards the new system you end up in. We can kind of do anything we want because it's an enclosed space, so we're doing things like, on the rendering side, we're taking the sunlight, which we don't normally need when you're in an enclosed space, and we're reusing the sunlight, all the text that goes behind that with high-res shadow maps and these type of things, and directional occlusion, and then reusing that using that to create a flickering, pulsating effect in the tunnel. And we can take a lot of shortcuts and do a lot of cool things that aren't really possible in the rest of the game because we have this totally enclosed and bespoke play space.
You will not see two-lane traffic inside the jump tunnel itself. In the jump tunnel, you'll see the ships ahead of you, and if you look behind, you'll be able to see ships that are in range behind you, but you won't see traffic going the other direction.
Why do you hate fun?
It's not that I hate fun, it's that I want everybody to have a good experience in this tunnel, and if there's other ships there that you can collide with, we want to avoid that kind of situation.
Think of it as a
The
freeway.
player's ship.
Sorry?
Think of it as a freeway, you know,
Yeah, 2 lanes.
one-way traffic. So 2 lanes, yeah.
When they're traveling in the tunnel, are going to be in a line. So it's going to be, the term that we use internally is ducks in a row. So one ship behind another ship behind another ship.
There'll be some obstructions in some of the tunnels which you have to dodge around, but for the most part, it's a matter of turning and navigating through the tunnel and not hitting the sides.
Because the closer you are to the edge of the tunnel, the more likely you are to fail your jump.
The edges of those tunnels and those obstructions cause distortion damage to your ship.
There's a pool on your jump drive, and if this pool fills with distortion, then your jump drive will shut down. If your jump drive does shut down, then you're going to fail that jump.
You get booted out of the tunnel, and there's a number of places in the system where you could end up based on like how long you've been in the tunnel. You could end up back in Stanton, or you could be in Pyro, but you're not going to be at where you wanted to be. You're going to be at the edge of the system somewhere and have to find your way back.
Okay, so questions there. The obvious one to me is if you go past the halfway point, it's more likely you're going to come out at the edge of the system. Can some really skilled navigators use that to their advantage to be in a more favorable place in the system? Then the other question becomes, will you actually also have a damaged ship? Like, I know it's distortion damage, but can it actually like injure components and stuff like that? That has to be more negative effect than I just drop out somewhere.
I got the impression they hinted at that, but I was also thinking if you're flying through the main jump point and you know that you're on the Pyro side and you're coming to Stanton and you know you're on the Stanton side and you're a smuggler, do I send my ship through, you know, do I fail the jump so I appear in Stanton at some point and then smuggle my stuff in? The other thing I was thinking of, like when they said you may want to buy fuses could that be an engineering gameplay where you're running around for your fuses and making sure your jump drive isn't getting too battered by the negative effects?
I think it's more likely fuses are just hard to come by in Pyro.
Yeah, could be. But yeah, that was just something I just thought of as we were watching there. You know, will you be able to manage your jump drive and actually maintain it? And having a multiplayer ship with a person doing engineering and fixing that could be something that actually enables you not to fail your jump if you're getting too close to the edges or stuff. So yeah.
Currently, the jumps that we are toying with are about 3 minutes, but this is still open to iteration based on how many ships we want to have in that tunnel, how close they are, and the trip needs to be long enough in order to cover the transition from your origin system to your destination system. When you are arriving via a jump point, you will realize that you aren't actually coming through the same entryway that you would have been passing through to go to the next system. Players will not be able to necessarily camp that point just for you to exit it. The intention is that there will be multiple locations where you will exit to, and so this will mitigate that threat.
It's kind of a shotgun approach coming out of the jump gate because we don't want everybody to be slamming right into each other. We want to be able to spread the ships out that are coming through and get your own view of like your new setting and where you're at.
Right, so that leads more into what I was saying earlier about the anti-camping stuff. It also means they're essentially not traditional wormholes. They're unstable at one end. They're well, again, the shotgun approach. So essentially it's like flinging you towards the nearest star and you land somewhere near it type of thing.
But I think that also makes sense of, you know, Squadron 42, where we had the, you know, the opening scene of that that sneak preview we got with Henry Cavill's, you know, character doing the, you know, they're doing the two F7As doing the search, or the F7Cs doing the search, you know, and checking and patrolling the jump point, because you don't know when the Vandal, they don't know where the Vandal are going to come through if they come through, and so they're constantly checking those.
Yeah, so defense is a bigger thing, because then you've got to, it's the whole, I'm just going to say the nebula of the jump point. It's not just that physical little finite point. Okay.
So when you come out of the pyro side of the jump gate, you should come out into completely different space than on the Stanton side. So it's sort of like a cave of gas. But there's also some structures that lead you directly towards the station. You can do anything you like there. It's just a normal R&R station that is just nice and safe before you go out into pyro itself, which is more dangerous, of course.
We've already shown on the tech preview that you can enter a jump gate and come out the other side, and we've got the ability to transfer servers. We've got that working even better than we ever thought we could at the beginning. We want to make the experience of going through the tunnel as seamless as possible. We don't want it to be super hard, but we want it to be engaging. We're going to save the challenging experience, the super hard acrobatics for the transient gates when we get to them.
Well, that answers that part as well. The smaller stuff, they're more dangerous, but that also leads into the smuggling stuff as well. So
add more to the smuggling, and it also raises the question of, you know, what size ships can go through those transient ones. I know we live a small, medium, and large, but yeah.
Well, there are certain small ships that can't even go through jump points, so it really does push it more into the medium-sized ship. Some small ones can, like the cutter, obviously. But yeah, it's how limited is that window? Is it like small and large, or small to large, and then capitals can't? Like, just where is that window? And yeah, I don't know. There's more questions. I've almost got more questions than answers now. But yeah.
Telling in the numbers about how many people jump at the same time, distance between ships, precisely the speed at which ships move down the tunnel, things like that. There's a lot of variables involved in balancing it, and there will be far more testing in the tech preview channel for jump points, so you can look forward to helping us figure out there.
Yeah, it's really exciting to like be to this point where we're able to deliver this new system of transferring yourself from one star system to another, being able to visit an entirely new star system, and having that experience of like going from Stanton to Pyro. It's going to be exciting.
Thanks for watching, and we're all really looking forward to being able to make these jumps and just a normal part of our gaming life.
There you go.
Which is fun, because jumping is fun.
So what did we learn this week? Well, hopefully a whole heck of a lot about the first jump point that's currently in development and scheduled to make its way into Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 in just the next few months. Yeah, I didn't say before the end of this year. We're still targeting something a bit sooner than that. And that's all I'm gonna say. And while jump points are a major milestone for the development of this game, before we let you go this week, I'd like to talk to you about a different kind of milestone unique to the program that you're watching now. ISC began in April of 2019, and since then, we've managed to tell a variety of different stories about more aspects of game development than you're probably likely to find anywhere else. That's 200 episodes so far, including the one that you're watching right now, with no plans to stop or slow down in the future. But this journey didn't start in 2019. That's because ISC is only the latest form of a program that's nearly as old as our project. Before then, we were proud to bring you Around the Verse, the talk show at the end of the universe, first created by Ben Lesnick and Sandy Roberts and hosted by an entire cavalcade of CIG developers filling in here and there, with segments that sometimes spawned into their own series like Bug Smashers, Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy, Ship Shape, and more. That was 228 episodes filled with a whole bunch of people that may not have always known what they were doing behind and sometimes in front of the camera, but doing everything we could to entertain, inform, and simply showcase the folks who make these video games that we're working on. But even they built their legacy on our first weekly behind-the-scenes talk show created by Eric Peterson and Michael Moreland called Wingman's Hangar, with Hangar with 2 A's. Old heads will know. 72 episodes of that set the foundation for CIG video content to come, even if some of it was just what we shouldn't do. Should I bring back hazy thoughts? No? Okay. So, 72 episodes of Wingman's Hangar, 228 episodes of Around the Verse, and 200 episodes of Inside Star Citizen. I had someone check the math on this 3 times. Someone was me, because I had to be sure. That makes this show not only the 200th episode of Inside Star Citizen, but also the 500th episode in a legacy that we're very proud to maintain, and hopefully continue to improve upon for years to come. Now, we don't have any fireworks or anything like that, and that's not really my style anyway. Instead, I wanted to pay tribute to the 680 people that have worked on or participated in or otherwise made one of these 500 episodes possible. And no, that's also too many to sing about. So instead, we spent the last 3 months going through every record and video we've made in order to ensure that we didn't miss anyone. But before we play our first 500 episodes credit roll, just let me thank the one group of people that aren't listed. No, not you. Move. Yeah, there you are, there you are. You've allowed us to tell stories of game development for 500 episodes now. And that's not even counting all the other programs over the years. You do this each and every week by responding to what we share. And as Dave Kaplan said just 2 weeks ago on this very program, that engagement and feedback is truly what keeps many of us going, and I'm certainly no exception. So thank you once again. Thank you for letting us share the people and process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here next week. And maybe the start of another 500.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there because I've looked ahead and there is literally like 3.5 minutes of credits. I've seen every single episode. I don't know about yourself, but
Oh, I have as well. And but that is why, you know, when people say, "Oh, you guys have forgotten that," or "Why do you guys know so much?" It's because we watched every episode. Like I came in late.
Yep.
But I went back then, you know, catching up on the old episodes with like 50 or so episodes, or actually 72 episodes.
Yep.
You know, so
But he said
catching up back
170.
then was
He said 170 something, but anyway.
yeah. So
Wouldn't
for the
take
Wingman Hangar, you know, I had that's what I had to catch up on. Whereas the Around the Verse, I saw all of those.
We're coming up to close to 700 ourselves. I'm not, I don't know if we've passed it or we're getting close. I haven't checked it in a while. I have to go back and check. So yeah, we've done a few now as well.
But it certainly is that. That's why we often do know so much. Is because we've been there right from the beginning, or we've absorbed all of that, and we remember a lot of that, and we keep each other on our toes by doing that. And that's why mule backers often don't know the stuff or have forgotten the stuff.
Yeah. And there's as I said, there's just always one little nugget in almost every episode. But I've just got a lot of questions now. I almost feel like they need to do a Q&A on it so we can kind of get those last few done. But yeah, because I know some other new people are going to come in and ask questions that we already know the answers to. But there are now they've made some changes there. There's some real, like there's questions now as an older backer I want answered.
Well, like it used to be said, the freelance was the larger ship. It could go through small jump points, but it's gone by the board.
Well, does that mean they're the largest one? Well, we also know that it's ship-based sized anymore, so technically it'd be the Legionnaire now. But point taken, is that now the larger ship that can go through the transient jump points?
Yeah. And so there's a whole host of questions there, and the transient ones are the ones that are going to be more dangerous. So,
I just realised, Algared. You know how I was talking about like racing with the Zeus and the transient jump points? Oh my god!
Well,
because if they're only open temporary, that means the race course could be temporary.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Look, I've always argued that, or thought that racing is really the training ground for jump point travel.
Well, I always thought that with the
tunnels and everything else and weaving
I worked that all the way out. What was called the Cartwell Scout. But what's it's doing? Well, it was racing jump points, and now it's not a scout at all. It's just an attack craft. So they need to drop this. Well, I'm not even sure. I have to go check on the actual website, but I don't think they shouldn't be calling it a scout anymore. It's just a Cartwell. Because it doesn't have the 2 seats anymore. It doesn't have any of the scanning suites or anything that is required to do so. So yeah. Anyway, what would you like to hear from people in the comments below? I think for me, it would just be, is there anything we kind of missed that you guys picked up on? So yeah, Algared, what would you like to hear?
What questions you have now about jump points? If you're an older backer, how does this change your view? If you're a new backer, what are you looking forward to?
I think I'll kind of just ride your coattails there a little bit and say, if you are a new backer, if you've ever heard someone talk about Death of a Spaceman and how much that didn't change, this is almost the opposite, where this is a fundamental, like from about the same time period, we're talking 2013, but this is a monumental shift. From everything we've been told, where it's just been lying there since 2013, this has just flipped everything on its head, because as I said halfway through the video, it had small, medium, and large, and now it's just one size fits all.
The main jump points are just standard. It's just that does everyone, and there's still stuff they're still trying to sort out, like what's the speed? Like if you have all small ships going through a jump point together, does that mean they're going to travel faster than say if you've got large and small ships? So I've got a whole host of questions. I think you said it earlier. I think I've got more questions than I've got answers, but it's not a negative. It's actually
well, like from a strategic perspective, I can see what they're trying to do. But the other thing, like I felt like I was a bit negative and harsher for parts where I was talking about. I just don't understand why they would make you wait for so long, yet someone can't block you. So it just doesn't make sense. So I want that answered. It sounds like it's some kind of weird technical limitation, almost like because you are technically transferring between servers, they want you to do it in groups so it doesn't cost them as much or something. Because if you could just do it whenever you want, then there's going to be constant server transfers. Where if they're slowing you down and doing it in batches, does it work out monetarily cheaper for them? And so that's actually dictating gameplay is kind of scary to me. If that's
Are they also saying it's the way you attune takes time, and so you want to do it in batches because it makes it I don't know. Yeah,
That's the only thing I can think of is that they're slowing you down so you essentially group up and you go through together to save them money. And it sounds like, again, they said it's going to take roughly 3 minutes. So does that mean you can only really transfer every 3 minutes? Because that's what I'm hearing from what I heard in the video. That they're trying to get you to go in batches just so they don't have to be doing constant transfers. Because obviously it's probably like a weaker system between there. I think we just lost your camera, Algared. You still there?
We did, yeah.
That's right. Sounds like the best time to wrap up because Algared wants to go home to bed. Right.
Yeah.
The person that's not below me is Algared.
The person who's above me is Execute, and we're out of here.
And I forgot to say like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And thank you to everyone that went an extra mile at the end of the video on Patreon.
See what happens when my camera dies?
Yeah, I go spag the brain. All right.
Yeah.
See you, citizens.
Take care.